guys, if you're a part of our email list, you saw that there had been some small minor changes, and we had let you guys know that we were going to be making some changes into the future. And so, as we had announced, we were going to continue to be meeting completely online through May 31st, which is today. And then we wanted to create something for the summer that was different, that was what we needed as a community. That's a lot of what goes into these decisions, is trying to figure out what's best for us as a community and simultaneously holding in tension what's safest for that circle around us, what's safest for Birmingham and the people we're going to be in contact with. What's the best way to handle all of this? And that's a lot of what pastoring a church is figuring out how to best care for souls, how to best care for people and individuals. And so we have been praying about it, thinking about it, brainstorming for several weeks. And we just want to give you guys a little bit of an update by way of announcements that we're going to be doing some stuff. And so what we want you guys to know is that our services are going to continue to be live streamed. And honestly, that's something that will continue for the foreseeable future, even as we're able to really fully gather back together. This is something that we have the technology for. We have the ability to do this. And we never want it to be a replacement for the gathered worship of God's people. We cannot wait to have the voices raised and the handshakes and the high fives and all of that. But it's going to be a long time before we're able to really be able to gather up completely as a whole church and a whole community again. And honestly, it might be a while before everybody's on the same page with that. So you don't have to worry about it. The live stream is going to continue, and we're going to be able to, you'll be able to view that live on Sunday mornings, even as some gatherings start to happen up at the Battery. And we want to say this too, pastorally, and just kind of let y'all know, we do not expect people to be eager, all on the same page, ready to go, ready to get up there. For those of you that, as things start to open back up, as you feel uncomfortable, as you feel tentative to get back out there, we understand, we get it. It is a very weird situation to be in, and by no way, shape, or form do we think people need to prove their faithfulness or their Christianity by rushing to be with their church family. We will not judge in that kind of way. This is a situation where we want it to be as pressure-free as possible, as whatever we can think. There's no guilt or shame in this as we begin to do this. And we ask everybody of that in the community, that this would be an opportunity for us to show honor and to show kindness to those that think differently, that feel differently about all of this. Those that are ready to rush out and get back out there, give grace, and vice versa. Those of you that are staying home and are a little hesitant, don't rush to judgment on the people that are getting back out there. So we just ask that we would kind of all be understanding of one another, and our leadership, and those of us that have been dialoguing this and discussing this, and small group leaders, and inside of small groups, close-knit friends. I mean, in all of it, everybody's coming from this from different angles. They're in different situations. They're in different, circumstances and contexts. And so we get it. It is different for everyone. And we sent out a survey to those commissioned members of Mosaic, those of you that are partners in this thing with us. And we saw in some of these split almost down the middle of people ready to get out, ready to go. And so collecting all that data, talking to small group leaders, talking to the people in our small groups, just kind of polling people randomly via text message if we were already in a conversation with someone, hearing feedback from you guys. We have tried to do what is best for the whole community at large. And so this is kind of what we've come up with. Starting next week on June 7th, we are going to start live streaming from the Battery. But that doesn't mean that anyone's going to be in attendance. So we feel like it'll be a step back to getting some stuff up there. Services will look a little bit more normal. We feel comfortable having 7 or 8 volunteers up there for preaching, for running sound, having the band filmed live. That worship, it's filmed and recorded with a different level of intensity and energy that we all miss. As great a job as our musicians and our guys doing recording have been through all of this. We get that it's just not the same as like live worship where people are hearing one another sing and are playing in the same room. And so we want to start to begin some steps back to normalcy. We want to get some steps back to just see how this goes. And so for the next couple of weeks, 2, 3, maybe 4, we'll see how things go. Service is going to be live from the Battery at 10 a.m. And so if there are some technical difficulties, if there are some things that maybe glitch, be patient with us. But we're going to attempt to do the service live, in person, all together at the same time, which will be different for us. And we hope, too, that that provides maybe a little bit of change of stimulus for those of you watching from home. And it'll provide something a little different for those that are participating. If you haven't yet, thank the people that have been a part of worship, because it is not easy. If you're one of the people that we have asked to record and do this, you get it. It's awkward sitting in an empty room like I am right now, looking into a camera, talking. Like, it's weird. It's different. We get it. So we're hoping that this will kind of make it a little bit easier on the people volunteering, a little bit more enjoyable of an experience. And we feel comfortable with that 8, 9 people in a room. We'll social distance the band. We'll take care of those things. And so as we do that, that'll be kind of the first step of really kind of what's phase 2 for Mosaic as we're stepping into summer. So we will do that for several weeks. And now here's the plan. We're not exactly sure how all of this will play out. We're watching closely the number of new cases that are happening over a 5-day average. As those cases begin to drop over a couple reporting periods, then we will consider what it looks like to open up the Battery so that 30 to 35 people will be able to be in attendance. There will be no childcare during that time. And so we get families, I understand, Anna understands, like, it's going to be hard, it'll be difficult. Some people won't be able to come if you can't keep your children 6 feet apart, a social distance. So what we'll do is we'll open up the Battery. It'll probably be some sort of RSVP system where you can sign up, family units and people that have quarantined together. We know that it's happened, people living on the same street, all of that. We get it. You need that. Those families that have kind of been near to one another, they'll be able to group together that you feel comfortable with, but we'll ask family units that haven't really been around each other and things like that to stay 6 feet apart. We will require masks to be worn in the building even during worship. And yes, singing will be weird, but singing is what they have dubbed a super spreader event. And so we want to take all precautions necessary. So as we see those numbers start to drop and to dwindle, those of you that feel comfortable to come out, to be a part of it all, we're going to ask that you guys sign up, and we'll limit it to a certain number of people, and we'll begin to open up the space to very small numbers where we'll be very safe. And if you don't feel comfortable with it, that's totally fine. And the reality of it is that there's going to be a lot of people that just won't even be able to be up there, and we get that, and that's totally okay. Like I said, the live stream's going to continue. That's not going to change. So you guys will be able to participate in worship in a lot of the same ways. And so as that's happening and as that's going on, we'll be watching those numbers. We'll be looking for the opportunity to open those things up. And as we do that, we'll let you guys know when that's going to start happening, and we'll tell you the correct channels and the ways to do all that. The second big announcement that we're making this morning is with small groups. We've asked all of our small group leaders up to this point to make sure everything stays online. And now we're going to sort of hand the power over to our small group leaders. And what we're going to say is we're going to ask people that they maintain proper social distance, that they maintain the ability to sanitize and to kind of keep everybody apart from one another. And in the spaces that you have available to you, here in June, as we get going right away, we're saying if you all want to start meeting outside, if that's something available to you, like, go for it. So small groups will start to slowly do things in really small numbers. And again, for those of you that don't feel comfortable doing those things, that don't want to get out, we get it. It's okay. No worries. We'll continue to create ways for people to connect. And in that, what we're saying too is small groups. If you don't want to meet every week, that's totally okay over the summer. We've talked to our small group leaders, and we're going to let each small group kind of figure out what they want to do for the summer and how they want to handle it. If they want to stay on Zoom, stay on Zoom. they want to take a little bit of a break over the summer, they can take a little bit of break. If you want to do a mix of both, if you want to do some outside events, and we've even offered up the Battery of an evening as a space where people would be able to kind of congregate 10, 12 people and have that ability. And we're asking that those small groups stay under 15, especially if you come up to the Battery, just kind of keep it low. But that's an option to everyone. And so if you're in a small group, y'all will be discussing that, be talking to your small group leaders, and we'll figure out the way. We'll let each small group kind of decide what's best for them. If you do decide to take a break, if you decide that you're going to sort of go on pause for a little bit, one of the things that we are going to be actively doing, and we need a couple of weeks to sort of figure this out, but somewhere mid-June, we'll be making some detailed announcements, but we're going to teach 2 classes at some point. They'll each be about 6 weeks. One's going to be on a Tuesday night, one's going to be on a Thursday night. We get that's during small group time. We'll make the content available so that if you're meeting during that time, you can watch the content if you want to be a part of it, or you might choose as a small group to pause during that time and to partake in one of the classes being taught. We're going to teach a couple of classes. They'll overlap for just a couple of weeks, trying to spread them out over the summer. One Tuesday night class, one Thursday night class. We're going to send some stuff out to get a feel and kind of a gauge for some of the things that y'all would be interested in and what those classes could look like for you. And so we'll be doing 2 classes. If we're able to, early June, maybe early August, we may have a couple of outdoor worship services, or maybe something up at the Battery that's a little smaller that would be a worship and prayer service. So be on the lookout for that. We're going to hopefully get the opportunity to do those things. And so we'll see. Like, that kind of goes along with how we handle Sunday mornings, but that might be an option. Just 1 or 2 worship services that are corporate during the week that gives another little feeder, something that's different, the ability for small groups to pause, but you to not be without community. And we're not going to be able to do our summer events that we love to do so much. There won't be a 4th of July Barons game. Well, we can't have a shrimp boil in June like we always do. So we mourn and lament the loss of those things. But we want to provide these little ways for people to stay connected and involved. And it may have to be online still, but at least it'd be a little bit of a different format, a little bit of a different structure. And so there'll be 2 classes coming out, maybe some worship and prayer nights. We're going to continue our midweek devotional. We skipped this week, being a holiday week, short week, trying to plan all of this. We kind of took a skip on that, but this week we'll be posting video content for a midweek devotional that we'll have you guys be a part of, and that you'll be able to connect that way with the church as well. And at some point over the summer, if we want to do some Zoom prayer stuff again, and that there's a space for that, we'll open that back up. But we just got the feeling right now that everybody's kind of zoomed out. And so those are the big announcements. The one other thing that we're going to be working with our women's and men's ministry on, we don't know what all that looks like, and each kind of group will be able to decide what they want to do. But there's going to be 2 or 3 events on the next couple of Mondays, or not the next couple of Mondays, but a couple of Mondays each. We'll let the women do a couple of events and the men's do, and we'll sort of do every other Monday over the summer. So each group will get to do 2 or 3 events on Monday nights that'll just add one more opportunity to connect. And we'll figure all of that out and how to best handle that, whether those are Zoom online Bible studies like the women did earlier and all of this, or if that is prayer nights, or maybe some sort of social distancing opportunity that people can connect and engage in. We're trying to do our best. If you have ideas how to handle those things that you would love to participate in, let us know. Reach out to me or Kyle. We would love to talk to you guys about that. But that's kind of the tentative plan. It's a classic Mosaic thing. We send out a survey and we get results from all over the place, and we kind of say, well, let's just try to do a little bit of everything and be a middle ground, a little both and. So that's what we're trying to do. We look forward to, and we understand that this has just been wearing people out. You're probably worn out right now listening to me talk online this long. But we wanted to get as much information out as possible. That all of this information will be available online this evening, tomorrow morning sometime, and we'll be sending an email out with these schedules, with times, dates, all of that. And as things open up, we will do our very, very best to get that information to you guys as fast as we possibly can. We're going to